You ask the question like a child who has found a loaded gun in the forest and asks if it is a toy or a magic wand. Why do we need money? Is it mischief or a blessing? The very formulation of this inquiry betrays you. It reveals you as a victim, a prey animal attempting to justify its weakness through philosophy. Wipe these sentimental labels from your mind immediately. Money is not good. Money is not evil. Money is not a social construct that you can dismantle if you meditate long enough on a yoga mat. In the reality you inhabit, not the delusion you prefer, but the physical reality, money is the only equivalent of biological energy that your environment recognizes. In the wild, the currency was calories. If you could not secure meat, you died. Your organism began to cannibalize itself, consuming its own muscle for fuel. In the concrete jungle, absolutely nothing has changed. The only difference is that the calories have been digitized. And if you do not have them, you are not just poor. You are chemically and biologically bankrupt. You are vulnerable. You are food. Look at yourself in the mirror. Do not look at your hairstyle or your clothes. Look at the tension in your jaw. Do you feel that background noise in your head, that low-frequency vibration of anxiety that never truly vanishes, even when you sleep? That is your cortisol. That is your ancient brain. The reptilian cortex responsible for basic survival, scanning your reality and reporting a critical error. Insufficient resources. It is screaming danger. You try to drown out this scream with cheap dopamine, with Netflix, with alcohol, with empty conversations about spirituality or politics, but you cannot deceive your own biochemistry. The absence of money is not an economic situation. It is a state of chronic inflammation. It is a physiological corrosive agent, physically destroys your blood vessels, kills your neurons, and turns your immune system into a sieve. You call these difficulties. I call it slow motion suicide. You are rotting alive. Every single day that you agree to accept less than you need, you sign a contract for accelerated degradation. Your body knows the truth. Without resources, you cannot protect yourself, you cannot protect your offspring, and you cannot defend your territory. You are a low-ranking male whom the environment will erase at the first sign of a real crisis. You ask if it is a blessing. It is a wall. It is the only wall standing between you and the absolute chaos of the universe. It is the ability to say no when you are offered humiliating terms. It is the ability to buy time, the only non-renewable resource in existence. Without money, you do not own your time, which means you do not own your life. You are a biological machine rented out to the highest bidder. You are a slave to circumstances, a slave to a boss you despise, a slave to a broken car transmission, or a toothache you cannot afford to fix. You are not living. You are functioning in a mode of emergency patchwork, and you dare to call this normal life. Admit that you are stuck right now. This is the first step. Without this admission, you remain biomass. Stop lying to yourself that money isn't everything. Write down your most obvious illusions on a sheet of paper. Look at this list of delusions about happiness in the little things and burn it. Happiness is when you control your reality, not when reality rapes you every day in different positions. You think your passivity is a choice? No. It is an energy conservation instinct that has malfunctioned. In the Paleolithic era, lying in a cave was a valid strategy to conserve calories during a famine. Today, it is a death sentence. The world has shifted, but your instincts have not updated. They whisper to you, don't risk it. Sit quietly. You have enough. And you listen. You choose the comfort of a slow fade over the pain of growth. But this comfort is a trap. It is a gas chamber with a pleasant aroma. You sit inside feeling warm while the oxygen runs out. Blindly repeating other people's scripts is a road to nowhere. Study, work, endure, get a pension. Do you see where that leads? Look at the old men standing in line for discount groceries. Look at the terror in their eyes when the price of bread goes up. Is that the finale you are designing for yourself? Do you want your life to end in a diaper on a state-funded cot because you lack the courage to secure the resources for dignity? If not, wake up. Money is required to restore your right to be called a man, a human, a predator capable of influencing the world. It is a test of competency. If you cannot monetize your skills, it means your skills are worthless, or you are a coward too terrified to assert your value. Is this harsh? Yes, but I do not care about your feelings. I care about whether you survive or not. Inaction today is the loss of health tomorrow. It is a stroke at 45. It is powerlessness in the face of a loved one's illness. It is looking into the eyes of your child and saying, we can't afford that. Programming them for the same cycle of poverty. You are contagious. Your poverty is a virus that you are transmitting to the next generation. You must understand the physics of your position. You are fighting entropy. Entropy is the universal force that pulls everything toward disorder and decay. A house left alone rots. A body left alone dies. Money is the energy required to push back against entropy. It is the tool of maintenance. When you lack it, entropy eats you faster. You age faster. You stress more. Your cognitive abilities decline because your brain is constantly occupied with short-term survival calculations. You lose IQ points worrying about rent. You are essentially operating with a lobotomy caused by scarcity. And yet, you have the audacity to wonder if pursuing wealth is greedy. Greed is consuming resources you did not earn. Survival is securing the resources necessary to function at your peak. You are not functioning at your peak. You are operating at 10% capacity, dragging the dead weight of your financial anxiety behind you like a prisoner with a ball and chain. And do not hide behind the mask of the intellectual who is above material concerns. That is a lie you tell to soothe your ego. It is a defense mechanism called reaction formation. You feel inferior because you lack power, so you invert the value system. You convince yourself that power is evil, and therefore your powerlessness is a virtue. I may be broke, but I am a good person. You are not good. You are just harmless. A rabbit is not a pacifist because it refuses to eat the wolf. The rabbit is harmless because it lacks the teeth to be a predator. You are judging the hunters while secretly wishing you had fangs. If I gave you $10 million today, right now, would you redistribute it? Would you give it all away? Or would you buy a fortress? We both know the answer. You would become exactly what you claim to despise. So stop the hypocrisy. Your envy of the rich is just your own suppressed hunger turned inward. You are standing on the edge of a cliff and the ground is crumbling. The economic winter is not coming. It is already here. The systems you rely on, pensions, social security, the job market, are fragile illusions. They are cracking. If you continue to rely on the herd for warmth, you will freeze when the herd panics. You need to build your own fire, and fuel costs money. This is not a metaphor. This is thermodynamics. You need to act, not next Monday. Now, your brain will resist. It will seek excuses. It will say, I don't know what to do. That is a lie, you know. It is just terrifying. It requires stepping into the zone of uncertainty, into the zone of solitude where there are no guarantees. But it is precisely there, in the cold and the discomfort, that results are born. Formulate your survival plan. Identify where you are leaking energy. Identify where you can seize more. Stop being a herbivore waiting for new grass to grow. Start hunting. I know what you are thinking. You look at this mountain of problems and you feel crushed. You have tried to move before, but the system slapped your hands every time. And now, a quiet voice inside you whispers, I can't pull myself out alone. And do you know what? In most cases, that voice is correct. Lone wolves die first in the modern era. If your internal navigation system is broken, if your map of the territory is outdated by a century, you will simply walk in circles until you collapse from exhaustion. For those who have realized the depth of their pit but cannot see the ladder, there are other methods. There are other paths. There are structured routes laid out by those who have already clawed their way out of this meat grinder. This is not a walk in the park. It is a forced march through a minefield, but with a map of the mines in your hand. No one is obligated to help you. The world is indifferent to your survival. But if you feel that you have reached your limit, that you can no longer afford to experiment with your life through trial and error, perhaps it is time to stop playing the solitary hero. There are proven systems. There are narrow but reliable trails where every step has been calculated. For those seeking a more direct and ruthless path, there are established algorithms, but only for those ready for the kind of work that cracks the bones of your old mindset. You can continue to bang your head against the wall, hoping to break it with your forehead, or you can find the door that others have opened, or you can arrive at the search for already ready, proven, merciless routes for those incapable of self-organization in the face of chaos. The choice is yours. But remember, money is just a magnifying glass. If you are empty inside, money will make you emptier, but at least you will be safe. If you are rotten, it will show your rot to the world. But if there is a spark of reason in you, money will become the fuel that launches you into an orbit inaccessible to those who continue to argue about whether it is mischief or a blessing. It is not mischief. It is the blood of modern civilization, and you are anemic. Either you start the transfusion right now, finding your source, or you are a corpse. The clock is ticking. Block 2. The domestication protocol. Let's dissect why you are here. Why, despite your intelligence and your vague sense that something is wrong, you remain paralyzed. You think your poverty is an accident. You think it is a temporary stroke of bad luck. You are naive. Your financial impotence is not a bug in the system. It is a feature. It is the result of 20 years of precision engineering designed to crush your hunting instinct and replace it with the compliance of a dairy cow. Look at your history. From the moment you were 5 years old, you were placed in a holding cell called school. What did you learn there? Did you learn how to acquire resources? Did you learn how to negotiate territory? Did you learn the psychology of dominance or the mechanics of value creation? No, you learned how to sit still for 8 hours. You learned how to ask for permission to use the bathroom. You learned that there is one correct answer and it comes from authority. You were lobotomized. Your natural predatory curiosity, the engine of all wealth generation, was systematically dismantled and replaced with the employee protocol. This protocol is simple. Trade your autonomy for safety. Be a good boy. Do what you are told. Wait for the bell. Wait for the weekend. Wait for the paycheck. This is domestication. You are a wolf that has been beaten until it acts like a poodle. And now, released into the wild economic jungle, you are confused why the other animals are eating you. You are waiting for a teacher to give you a gold star. But the market does not give gold stars. The market gives cash to those who seize it and starvation to those who wait. The most dangerous drug in the world is not heroin. It is a monthly salary. The salary is a drip feed of morphine designed to keep you just alive enough to work, but too sedated to escape. It kills your hunger. It creates a false feedback loop where you believe that resources appear because of attendance, not because of result. In the wild, if you don't catch the prey, you don't eat. In your cubicle, you can be mediocre, you can be slow, you can be checked out, and the pellet of food still drops into the tray on the 1st and the 15th. This destroys your connection to reality. It causes your survival muscles to atrophy. You become soft. You become entitled. You begin to believe that the world owes you a living simply because you exist. And this entitlement is your cage. You cling to the bars because you are terrified of the open field. You complain about your boss. You complain about the wages, but you defend the cage with your life. You have developed Stockholm Syndrome with your own mediocrity. You call it stability. Let me tell you what stability is in the modern world. It is a lie. One merger, one AI algorithm, one economic downturn, and your stable job evaporates. And because you have spent decades relying on the zookeeper to feed you, you have no idea how to hunt. When the gate opens, you won't be free. You will be panicked. You will be the first casualty of the shift. You use comfort as a shield against this terror. You retreat into your small warm life. The sofa, the delivery food, the endless scrolling. Comfort is the enemy of evolution. Evolution only happens in response to stress. Muscles grow because they are torn. Immunity builds because it is attacked. Character forms because it is tested. By optimizing your life for comfort, you are optimizing it for weakness. You are systematically removing every stressor that could make you stronger. You are soft in the middle and fragile at the edges. And do not mistake busyness for effectiveness. I see you running around, stressed, tired, always doing something. You are a hamster on a wheel. You are generating heat, but you are not generating motion. You confuse activity with productivity. The prey animal runs. The predator stalks. The prey animal is busy trying not to die. The predator is focused on the kill. Your life is a frantic attempt to patch holes in a sinking ship, while the rich are building new ships. You are selling your time wholesale to buy retail survival. It is bad math. It is a losing trade. Time is the raw material of your existence. When you sell it for a fixed wage, you are capping your potential. You are saying, my life is worth exactly $20 an hour and no more. You have placed a ceiling on your own existence. Wealth is the decoupling of time and money. It is building systems that harvest resources while you sleep. But building a system requires pain. It requires the upfront cost of energy without guaranteed return. And your employee protocol screams at you, don't do it. It's risky. You might waste time. So you choose the guaranteed crumb over the potential feast. You are sleepwalking through a massacre. You look at the news and you see the world burning, but you think, it won't touch me. It will touch you. Inflation is the invisible tax on your cowardice. It is the water rising in the room while you sit on the couch. You are getting poorer every second you do not act. Your silence is expensive. Your hesitation is expensive. The safety you prize so highly is an illusion that is rapidly dissolving. This is why you feel that deep, gnawing emptiness. It is not depression. It is unfulfilled potential. It is your DNA screaming in horror at what you have become. A domesticated primate in clothes, staring at a screen, waiting to die. You know you were meant for war, for conquest, for creation, but you are stuck in traffic. This dissonance is tearing you apart. Breaking this conditioning is the hardest thing a human can do. It is harder than quitting smoking. It is harder than losing weight. You are fighting against decades of neural wiring. You are fighting against the collective hypnosis of your family, your friends, and your society. They want you to stay in the bucket. When one crab tries to climb out, the others pull him back down. Who do you think you are? They whisper. Stay with us. It's safe here. They pull you down not because they hate you, but because your escape forces them to face their own cowardice. You cannot break this alone with just positive thinking. You cannot affirm your way out of a prison cell. You need a file. You need a map. You need a riot. Most people who try to escape the matrix of mediocrity fail because they underestimate the gravity of their old habits. They try for a week, they hit the first wall of pain, and they retreat back to the comfort of the cage. I tried, they say. It didn't work. No, you didn't try. You flirted with freedom and you got scared. To rewrite the employee protocol, you need a total system reboot. You need to uninstall the fear of failure. You need to uninstall the need for permission. This requires a level of psychological violence against your own weak self that most are incapable of generating on their own. This is why the lone wolf myth is dangerous. In nature, the lone wolf is usually a dead wolf. The successful predator learns from the pack. He learns from the scars of the elders. You are standing at a crossroads. One path is familiar. It is paved. It has street lights. It leads to a slow, comfortable decline, a retirement home, and a tombstone that says he paid his bills. The other path is dark. It is overgrown. It is full of noises that scare you, but it leads to the mountaintop. It leads to the air that only free men breathe. You think you have time to decide. You don't. The cement is hardening around your feet. Every day you stay in the cage, the door rusts a little more shut. Soon, it will not open at all. You need to find the lever. You need to find the code. And if you cannot find it yourself because your eyes are blinded by the fluorescent lights of your office, then you need to find someone who has the torch. There are structures. There are frameworks designed to deprogram the domesticated human and reactivate the predator. These are not get-rich-quick schemes. They are get-real-fast protocols. They are painful. They require you to murder your old identity. They require you to look in the mirror and admit that everything you thought you knew about money, safety, and life was a lie told to keep you obedient. But before you can even look for the map, you must admit that you are lost. You must admit that your common sense has led you to a dead end. Common sense is just the collection of prejudices you acquired by age 18. It is the software of the herd. To become wealthy, to become free, you must do the uncommon thing. You must embrace the paradox. Safety is dangerous. Risk is safety. Comfort is pain. Pain is growth. Stop defending your limitations. Stop arguing for your poverty. When you say, I can't because you are putting handcuffs on your own wrists, the universe listens to your arguments and grants them. You're right, the universe says. You can't, and you remain small. The transition from prey to predator is mental first, financial second. Money follows the mindset. If you give a lottery win to a sheep, he will be sheared by wolves within a year. If you take everything away from a true hunter, he will be king of the jungle again in 3 years. You are focusing on the money, but you should be focusing on the animal inside. Is it awake? Or is it in a coma induced by cheap carbohydrates and cheaper entertainment? Wake it up, poke it with a sharp stick. Use the pain of your current reality as the stimulus. Look at your bank balance and get angry. Look at your car and get angry. Look at the face of the man who tells you when you can take a lunch break and feel the rage of a sovereign being who has been enslaved. Use that rage. Anger is energy. Anger is the fuel that burns the employee protocol. But anger without direction is just chaos. You need a vector. You need a strategy. You need to stop flailing in the water and start swimming toward the shore. And if you don't know where the shore is, stop pretending you do. Stop swimming in circles. Look for the signal. Look for the lighthouse. The mischief or blessing question is over. The only question now is, are you going to die in this cage or are you going to chew through the bars? The taste of iron will break your teeth. It will bleed, but it is better to swallow your own blood than to swallow their lies for one more day. Now we arrive at the choke point, the moment of amputation. You understand the trap. You feel the cage. Your logic accepts that staying here is suicide, but your feet are glued to the floor. Why? Because directly in front of you lies the abyss, the zone of uncertainty, and your domesticated brain perceives uncertainty as death. This is the final biological barrier. Your ancestors survived by staying in the known territory. The map ended at the river, and they did not cross it because there be dragons. But today, the dragons are inside the village. The village is burning. To stay is to burn. To cross into the dark is the only chance of life. You must rewire your relationship with the unknown. You crave guarantees. You want a contract signed by God that says, if I take this risk, I will be rich. There are no contracts. There are no guarantees. This is the price of admission to the arena of the free. The comfort you are clinging to is the price you pay for your slavery. The anxiety you fear is the price you pay for your freedom. You have to choose which pain you want. The dull, aching pain of regret and mediocrity that lasts forever, or the sharp, piercing pain of growth and risk that leads to power. You are afraid of being alone. This is natural, but you must understand that the path out of the pit is a single file line. You cannot hold hands with your friends while you climb. They are not climbing, they are anchoring. To escape, you must enter the zone of solitude. This is not a punishment, it is a filter. In solitude, without the noise of the herd, you finally hear your own instincts. You finally see the reality without the distortion of of social validation. You will lose friends. Let them go. They were bonded to your weakness, not your strength. When you change the frequency, the old receivers stop picking up the signal. This is isolation, yes, but it is the isolation of the cockpit, not the isolation of the solitary confinement cell. You are alone because you are piloting the machine. You tell yourself, I'm not ready. You will never be ready. Readiness is a fantasy. Do you think the gazelle is ready when the cheetah sprints? It moves or it dies. You are waiting for a feeling of confidence. Confidence is the result of action, not the prerequisite. You build the parachute after you jump. If you wait until you feel safe to act, you will wait until the coffin lid closes. And here is the hardest truth. You probably cannot do this entirely on your own. This is not an insult to your intelligence. It is an acknowledgement of your conditioning. You are trying to escape a labyrinth that was designed by people smarter than you to keep you inside. You are trying to perform brain surgery on yourself while looking in a mirror. It is messy. It is dangerous. The self-made man is a myth. Every apex predator had a mentor, a system, or a blueprint. The wolf learns to hunt from the pack. The eagle learns to fly from the parent. You are trying to learn how to be free from a society of slaves. Who are you modeling? Your broke parents? Your anxious friends? Your exhausted boss? You are copying errors. You are replicating a virus. To survive the crossing of the abyss, you need a map. You need a system, not a magic pill, but a rigid, tested structure that holds you upright when your willpower collapses. Because it will collapse. Motivation is a weather event. It comes and goes. Discipline is a geological structure. It stays. But discipline needs a framework to act upon. You need to know exactly where to place your foot in the dark. This is where the arrogance of the smart person kills them. You think, I can figure it out. I'll watch some videos. I'll read some blogs. You are trying to assemble a nuclear reactor from spare parts you found in a junkyard. Meanwhile, there are blueprints available. There are proven pathways. There are strictly described routes carved into the rock by those who have already climbed the mountain. Why do you insist on wandering in the fog when there is a lit path? Is it pride? Is it cheapness? You are trying to save money on the very thing that generates money. You are trying to save energy on the very thing that creates energy. It is the logic of a dying man refusing to buy water because it's too expensive. What is the cost of not having a map? The cost is years of your life. The cost is spinning your wheels until the rubber burns off. The cost is giving up 3 feet from the gold because you didn't know where to dig. There are systems designed for people like you, people who have the drive but lack the direction, people who have the engine but no steering wheel. These systems are not for everyone. They are not for the tourists who want a sightseeing tour of success. They are for the desperate. They are for the ones who have realized that their best thinking got them into this hole. And their best thinking is not enough to get them out. Admitting you need a protocol is not weakness. It is strategic intelligence. It is the general realizing he needs satellite intel before sending his troops into battle. You are the general of your life, but you are commanding blind. You are sending your resources, your time, your energy, your sanity into the meat grinder without a strategy. Stop it. Stop optimizing for free. Free information is worth exactly what you paid for it. It is scattered, contradictory, and unorganized. It keeps you busy, but it does not move the needle. You need structured. You need curated. You need ruthless. You need a sequence of actions that force you to execute, bypassing your brain's desire to procrastinate. The abyss is wide, but it is not infinite. There is a bridge. It is narrow. It is high. It is terrifying, but it holds weight. You can stand on the edge, shivering, looking down at the wreckage of those who tried to jump without a plan. Or you can step onto the bridge. The bridge is built of uncomfortable actions. It is built of early mornings, cold calls, rejected offers, and failed experiments. It is built of skills you do not yet have. It is built of a new identity that you must forge in the fire of humiliation. You will feel stupid. You will feel clumsy. Good. That is the feeling of the old shell cracking. You have 2 choices left. Choice A, you turn back to the village, you apologize to the cage, you sit back down in your cubicle, you turn on the TV, and you wait for the end. You accept that you are a prey animal, you accept the slow rot, you make peace with your irrelevance. Choice B, you step into the uncertainty, you accept that you might fall, but you refuse to kneel. You look for the route, you find the system. You grab the hand of the guide, not because you are weak, but because you are smart enough to know that the ascent is vertical. Do not tell me you are thinking about it. Thinking is the problem. Thinking is the loop. Action is the break. The only thing that separates the survivor from the statistic is the speed of the decision. The gap is closing. The sun is setting. The predators are waking up. Are you one of them, or are you dinner? Find the map or die lost. The screen will go black in a minute. The voice in your ear will stop, and the silence will rush back in. That silence is the sound of your reality waiting for you. It is the sound of the debt. the unfulfilled ambition, and the clock ticking on your biological lifespan. What will you do when the silence returns? Will you click on the next video? Will you seek another hit of dopamine to numb the pain I just woke up? Or will you sit in that silence and let it radicalize you? You have heard the truth, not the polite truth of society, but the raw, bloody truth of nature. Money is not paper. Money is the wall between you and the abyss. Money is the ammunition in the war against entropy. If you are unarmed, you are not a pacifist. You are a victim in waiting. You have seen the cage. You have felt the domestication. You know that your comfort is just the anesthesia administered before the lethal injection of mediocrity. You are standing on what military strategists call death ground. It is the terrain where there is no retreat. Behind you is the life of a slave, the slow rot, the obedience, the regret. In front of you is the fire. Most men choose the rot because it is quiet. They die at 25 and are buried at 75. Do not be most men. Most men are biomass. They are the background static of history. You were born with the hardware of a conqueror, but you are running the software of a victim. This is your final wake-up call. I am not here to motivate you. Motivation is for children. I am here to traumatize you into action. I want you to be terrified of your current trajectory. I want you to look at your bank account and feel a visceral sense of disgust, not acceptance. Acceptance is death. Disgust is the engine of change. You need a plan, not a wish, not a goal, not a vision board. You need a tactical, ruthless, step-by-step protocol of extraction. You need to know exactly how you will rip your freedom from the jaws of this economy. If you do not have a plan, you are part of someone else's plan, and their plan involves using you as a battery until you are depleted and then discarding you. If you are smart enough to realize that you cannot map this terrain alone, then stop letting your ego drive the car. The ego wants to say, I did it myself. The survivor says, I made it out alive. If there is a rope ladder dangled in front of you, climb it. Do not ask who woven the rope. Do not argue about the color of the rope. Climb. There are systems. There are blueprints. There are proven algorithms of wealth that operate with the precision of a machine. They are hidden in plain sight, obscured only by your refusal to look or your refusal to pay the price of admission. The price is your old self. You have to kill the version of you that seeks comfort. You have to kill the version of you that needs approval. You have to kill the high-income peasant or the noble pauper you have pretended to be. It will hurt. Good. Let it hurt. The pain means the nerves are waking up. The gate is open. The guards are asleep. But the alarm will sound soon. The window of opportunity to build generational sovereignty is closing. The world is becoming harder, not easier. The gap between the predators and the prey is widening. Decide right now which side of the food chain you belong to. Don't leave a comment telling me good video. I don't care. Go look in the mirror. Look at the animal in the reflection. Ask him, are we going to hunt or are we going to starve? The hunt begins the moment you decide to stop being the prey. The video ends. The work begins. Get up.